have not really felt to do a video today. I've been thinking a lot, though, and it's interesting. You know, I think that when we go through these contractions, the groaning in the body of Christ and the sense of imminency goes along with a coalescence of events that moves us forward dramatically. And then I feel like, honestly, right now I'm not feeling the sense of imminency I did a couple days ago, and it's frustrating me, actually. Amanda Christian had a dream about a clock with snails on it that were all moving so slow, and God told her, you know, they're moving at the pace I need them to move. And I was irritated by the video because it just confirmed my feeling. This whole thing with Iran, if what I've been doing is reading as many, there's very little information. And so you have to go to other sources for your information. And sometimes you've got to get a full picture of what the media is saying. Not just what, like, we have Drudge and Jerusalem Post, and then we have our Watchmen people, you know. They're all drinking from the same sources. But, you know, I read an analysis by the New Yorker and the Guardian and the Independent and a few other places that are much more, I guess you could say, liberal leaning, more intellectual at least, but probably liberal. And you just got to get a full spectrum of what people are thinking. And, you know, the whole world is wondering what's going on. And really, in the analysis is that this is what Donald Trump does. He's willing to do a big show of force to bring people to the negotiating table, just like he did with Kim Jong-il in North Korea. So he's willing to threaten and bring assets out and do all this stuff, but he doesn't want a war. That would be, the analysis is that would be a disaster for his chances of the 2020 election. He campaigned as the anti-war, I'm going to get the troops out, you know, of Iraq and all these places. And also, Iran is bigger than Iraq by 3 times. What are you going to do if you do get rid of the regime there? How are you going to manage that situation? So no one wants to deal with that, especially after Afghanistan and Iraq. So that's the kind of view. And then there's, you know, people saying, well, John Bolton and the neocons, they want a war. Trump doesn't, you know. So it just all goes to show that you cannot judge everything by these, you know, every time we see troops moving around, we go, the rapture's here, because we know Iran and Russia and all these countries are in Turkey and Sudan and Libya, they're all going to be involved in that Magog invasion, and we know God's going to respond with destruction. We also know that there's a good chance that Russia could use that opportunity to attack us, you know. We know the scenario that might play out, but we don't know, you know, the Bible clearly doesn't say that it all starts with us attacking Iran. Of course it could, you know, it really could. But what the Bible tells us is that it's while Israel is dwelling in peace and safety without walls, that all of a sudden there's an attack out of the north, and it's a surprise. Well, that just doesn't really, to me, look like what we've got right now. And the peace and safety, I'm, you know, 2 days ago, my sense of imminence was so strong. I was like, do not be fooled by false peace or false calm. Today, I'm feeling like this doesn't match what I feel like the biblical scenario really says. it seems to me that the Magog invasion comes after the peace plan. And I don't even know for sure if the Trump peace plan is the peace plan. I know that he wants it to look like that. I know that the Zionists and everything are trying to make it look like prophecies being fulfilled. We just don't know. That's what I guess I'm getting at, is we just do not know. The rapture is not based on these signs. It's the sense we have, it's the groaning, it's the sense of imminency. That's what we follow. It's really a spiritual matter. And I was going back to Luke and Mark and Matthew 24, Mark 13, and Luke 21, just looking again. Well, okay, what is the build-up, And what kept striking me is that the next step, if you look at the sequence of signs, the next sign is the love of the many growing cold, people getting offended and delivering you over and betraying each other, and you being betrayed by household members and everywhere, and you being hated by all nations for his name's sake. And then the gospel being preached throughout the whole world as a witness to him. Now, what the focus of those synoptic gospels is Israel. Okay, so except for Luke, which deals with the times of the Gentiles, it deals with the first and second the first destruction of the temple, and it deals with until the land being trodden on by the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be complete, and but still the focus is on Israel and their temple. And so when he's speaking to the disciples, I believe he's speaking to them as typologically members of Israel, speaking of the disciples in the tribulation. But you look at what's happening in the social media thing right now. Soon channels like mine will be shut down. It won't be too long. This algorithms already know every word I'm saying, because I don't put descriptions and search tags in my videos, but my search results, when I'm looking at my news feed, often throw me stories based on keywords, obviously, that were heard by artificial intelligence in my speech. I can't think of any examples right now, but I see it all the time where you look at your news feed and obviously they're lifting the language from the videos that I'm giving, and so there's speech analysis going on. They know what words are being used in my videos, and they're giving me results on my YouTube feed that correspond with those sort of things. And sometimes it's funny because I'll use an analogy or something in a video that's silly, and they think that means I'm interested in, who knows, cheese or whatever. You start seeing some weird things, but you can see enough of them and go, okay, this is right after I did this video. You can see the algorithm's working. Speech recognition is working. Artificial intelligence is analyzing and giving results based on this. So all they have to do is pass a law that says we're not going to tolerate this kind of speech anymore, and they can just shut you down automatically. It's not going to take a member of Congress to come and shut you down. The algorithm will do it. So that's going to happen, maybe before we're out of here. If we're going to be here for a little while longer, to me that's so frustrating. But you know why that's frustrating? Because I'm not fully in the Spirit, and I need to pray that the other thing I saw in Luke, Matthew, and in Mark, Luke especially, there's a need of endurance. Over and over and over, he's talking about patience and endurance and not being troubled at the sign. In fact, Chuck Missler used to say, the things that we're calling signs are not the signs. Those are the things that Jesus said are not signs. Wars, rumors of war, nation rising against nation, kingdom against kingdom. Do not be alarmed. The end is not yet. So then it's the abomination of desolation that's really the trigger, or the surrounding of Jerusalem that's really the trigger. we're to know that we're in the season when we consider the fig tree and all the trees, meaning all the signs, coalescing. Earthquakes, famines, and all these things in different places. But in a way, they're anti-signs in the sense that we're not supposed to be alarmed by them and moved by them. We're not supposed to change our trajectory based on them. And the other thing I saw in Luke, almost right away, he said, don't let anyone deceive you, because many are going to come in my name, saying I'm the Christ, and saying the time is at hand. Don't follow them. Now, that's at the beginning of Luke, and I happen to believe that it's talking about the time of 1st and 2nd Thessalonians, where people were saying the day of the Lord had already come and all this stuff, because the beginning of Luke is the beginning of the passage in Luke is dealing with the destruction of the temple in 70 AD. Anyway, I just thought it was interesting. What I feel like is we need to pray that the Lord would grant us the spiritual condition necessary to endure. If he comes, great. We need to be longing for his coming. But this idea of I've got to get out of here now, producing impatience and agitation, is not a fruit of the Spirit. And so there's some kind of incompatibility with some aspects of our longing for his coming and how we're supposed to be in the Spirit. And we need to just pray the Lord. What it makes me, I heard Amanda's video about the snails on the clock and stuff, and it made me agitated. No, I cannot be agitated at the will of the Lord. I really need him to help me on this and reshape my heart so that I'll be compatible with him in whatever season I'm in. And if we just came out of a major birth pang contraction, now I'm listening to people who are saying, this is it still. And I'm not bearing witness to it. I'm kind of agitated about it. I'm like, no, stop, I listened to one guy today for a second, and then I realized who it was, and I turned the channel off, but he's saying, my job here is to keep you on the edge of your seat. I'm like, why are we sitting? Why are you making me feel like I'm watching a show? And all my energy is focused on this. Is that how the Lord wants us to be? Is that the watchfulness? No, the watchfulness is really concerned with the condition of our heart. And I'm telling you, this idea that I'm so agitated with everything in my life that I can't deal with it is not the strength of the Lord on display. The real watching will come with a refreshing in our inner man. And I'm not saying I know the answer, nor am I saying that the Lord is delaying his coming. What I'm saying is that there are times to be confused. We cannot be laser sharp clear all the time. Last year, I kept getting the word, it is not time to be clear. It is not time to be clear. Do not trust anybody who's laser sharp clear. Now, when we go through the birth pang and all these things coalesce, clarity comes. And our spirit bears witness. And then, when the contraction is over, it's like it dissipates a little bit. This was the most intense one I've been through in my Christian life. Is it over? I don't know. Is it my spiritual condition is just off right now? I don't know. This is where it's like, I'm confused. Am I out of sorts? Or is the contraction over? Are we going to be here for a while? Or are we going home right away? Is the buildup in the Middle East even significant? Or is that just Trump doing his thing? And Iran is saying we don't want a war. Trump is saying we don't want a war. Everybody's saying we don't want a war. It's hard for me to believe that it could just break out. However, it could be the hook in the jaw that drags everybody into a conflict that they don't want to be a part of. Because that's the other thing about Ezekiel 38 is that it's a hook in the jaw to Russia to drag them down. It doesn't sound like they want to go. So I don't know. But, don't give up hope. But if your heart is all agitated about this and you're bewildered, join the club. And sometimes it's okay to be confused. We are not to be laser sharp about this world. We need to be laser sharp about the Lord. And very few of these channels that we listen to that give us the news updates, have any spiritual food. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but the nourishing of the inner man is crucial. And that inner man is nourished with Christ as his food and drink. And the unsearchably rich Christ needs to be ministered by stewards who are faithful to the word to bring out the meat in season. We still need spiritual food. And just getting on every day and saying how urgent it is and the rapture's right here, now, is not spiritual food. Now, it's important. It's an important function, but it's not the only function. And if that's all you're doing, I'll bet you're pretty agitated right now and also pretty confused. It's okay to be confused. Rest in the Lord and ask the Lord to move anything out of your heart that you're holding on to as an idol. Like, the rapture could be an idol. Did you ever know that? Because if you associate it with salvation to get me out of here and out of my problem, and you don't see that the Lord still wants to save you in your problem and save you in your life, and that he's your salvation right now, but you put your hope on something of an event rather than the person of Christ. If the rapture is not the person of Christ to you, then it may be an idol. And you can tell when you're dealing with an idol because it makes a demand on you and gives you no rest and no peace. I'm not saying that the rapture is not right upon us and they're not. We are obviously in the season. Don't even think that we're not. All the signs and the witness of the Spirit. But is it this month? Is it next year? Short for God is long for us. And that's what I think Amanda's vision about the clock with the snails, well, that irritated me. And that's why I need to pray. So I'm just being honest here. I'm being honest about the condition of my heart and how bewildered I am. I do respect everybody who has a channel that's been sounding the alarm. I don't want to say that. But you also need we also need spiritual food, including myself in that. I'm very tired. All right, I'm going to listen to this and see if it's worth posting. Talk to you later.